The noble Mahayana Sutra, the perfection of wisdom in 700 lines. Homage to all the Buddhas and bodhisattvas. Thus did I hear at one time. The Blessed One was dwelling in Shravasti, in Jeta's grove, Anathapindada's park, together with a large monastic community, a full 1,000 monks, as well as with 1,000,000 bodhisattva mahasattvas armored with the great armor, such as the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Maitreya, Asanga-pratibhāna, and Aniksiptadhura, all of them irreversible from progress toward unsurpassed, perfectly complete awakening. Then at dawn, the youthful Mañjuśhrī emerged from his dwelling so as to behold the Tathagata, venerate him, and reverently attend upon him. He went to the Tathagata's dwelling and stood outside the door. The venerable Śhāradvatīputra then emerged from his dwelling too so as to see the Blessed One, venerate him, and reverently attend upon him. And he went to the Tathagata's dwelling. And also the venerables Purnamaitrayaniputra, Mahamodgalyayana, Mahakashyapa, Mahakatyayana, Mahakasthila, and the other great Shravakas emerged from their respective dwellings, went to the Blessed One's dwelling, and once there stood to one side. Thereupon the Blessed One, having become aware that the great Shravakas had come and gathered, emerged from his dwelling and sat down to one side on the seat prepared outside the dwelling. Once seated, the Blessed One knowingly asked the venerable Śhāradvatīputra, "Why, Śhāradvatīputra, have you come at the break of day, standing at the door of the Tathagata's dwelling?" When this was asked, the venerable Śhāradvatīputra replied to the Blessed One, "Blessed Lord, the first among all to be standing at the door of the Tathagata's dwelling was youthful Mañjuśhrī. We came afterward, wishing to see the Blessed One. Then the Blessed One knowingly asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, 'Is it true, Mañjuśhrī, that you were the first among all to be standing at the door of the Tathagata's dwelling, so as to see the Tathagata, venerate him, and reverently attend upon him?' When this was asked, the youthful Mañjuśhrī replied to the Blessed One, 'It is, Blessed Lord, it is, well gone one. I was the first among all to have emerged from my dwelling so as to see the Blessed One, venerate him, and reverently attend upon him, and to have come to the Tathagata's dwelling and stood to one side. Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, I can never see the Tathagata, venerate him, and reverently attend upon him enough. And, Blessed Lord, I come to see the Tathagata, venerate him, and reverently attend upon him for the sake of all beings. Blessed Lord, if the Tathagata is to be seen, venerated, and reverently attended upon, he is to be seen, venerated, and reverently attended upon, just as I see, venerate, and reverently attend upon him. It is in this way that the Tathagata becomes seen, venerated, and reverently attended upon. Blessed Lord, it is for the sake of all beings that I see the Tathagata." The Blessed One asked, "How, Mañjuśhrī, is the Tathagata to be seen?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "The Tathagata is to be seen in the aspect of suchness and in the aspect of the non-conceptual, by way of not apprehending anything. Likewise, the Tathagata is to be seen from seeing him in the aspect of non-arising, up to the aspect of a non-entity. Suchness does not come into being. Thus is the Tathagata to be seen. Suchness does not come to exist, nor does it cease to exist. Thus is the Tathagata to be seen. Suchness is not located or situated anywhere. Thus is the Tathagata to be seen. Suchness is not past, not future, not present. Thus is the Tathagata to be seen. Suchness is not distinguished by duality, nor is it distinguished by non-duality. Thus is the Tathagata to be seen. Suchness is not defiled, nor is it purified. Thus is the Tathagata to be seen. Suchness does not arise and does not cease. Thus is the Tathagata to be seen. It is in this way that the Tathagata becomes seen, venerated, and reverently attended upon. When this was said, the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "Seeing in this way, Mañjuśhrī, what do you see?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "Seeing in this way, Blessed Lord, I do not see anything whatsoever. Similarly, Blessed Lord, I do not see the arising of any dharma whatsoever, nor do I see the cessation." Then the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "You do what is difficult to do, Mañjuśhrī. You see the Tathagata in this way and reverently attend upon him in this way. You have established great loving kindness for all beings, and yet you have no apprehension of any being or fixation on any being whatsoever. You have practiced for all beings to attain parinirvana, and yet there occurs in you no fixation on any being whatsoever. You have donned the armor for the sake of all beings, by way of not apprehending anything, by way of there being no real entity, and by way of never being dispirited." At this, the youthful Mañjuśhrī said to the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, "It is just as you say, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra. This armor has been donned for all beings to attain parinirvana, and yet I have no apprehension of any being or fixation on any being whatsoever. This armor, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, has not been donned, thinking, how will I bring about the decrease or increase of the mass of beings? If, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, hypothetically, in each and every Buddha field, there were blessed Buddhas as numerous as the grains of sand in the Ganges river, and each and every one of those Tathagatas were to remain for as many eons as there are grains of sand in the Ganges river, teaching the Dharma both day and night, and the beings each and every Tathagata would tame through each and every Dharma teaching, were as many as the beings that are tamed through each and every teaching of the Dharma by the blessed Buddhas as numerous as the grains of sand in the Ganges river. Even after this is done, no decrease or increase in the mass of beings is evident. Why is that? Because it is devoid of beings, because beings are not beings. Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, no decrease or increase in the mass of beings is evident." When this was said, the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "If, Mañjuśhrī, because it is devoid of beings, because beings are not beings, no decrease or increase in the mass of beings is evident, then to whom will you teach the Dharma, having fully awakened to awakening?" At this, the youthful Mañjuśhrī said to the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, "When, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, there is absolutely no apprehension of any being, then who will be fully awakened, and to whom will the Dharma be taught? Why is that? Because, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, there is absolutely no apprehension of any dharmas." Thereupon the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "Mañjuśhrī, when there is absolutely no apprehension of any dharmas, then how do you even designate a being? And if, Mañjuśhrī, someone were to ask, how many beings are there? What would you say to them?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "So asked, Blessed Lord, I would say to them, as many as there are dharmas of the Buddha." Blessed Lord, if they were to then ask, how large is the mass of beings, I would say to them, as large as the domain of the Buddha. The Blessed One asked, "Mañjuśhrī, if someone were to then ask you, what is the mass of beings included in, what would you say to them?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "So asked, Blessed Lord, I would say to them, it is included in what nonarising and inconceivability are included in." The Blessed One asked, "Mañjuśhrī, if someone were to then ask you, what does the mass of beings dwell upon, what would you say to him?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "So asked, Blessed Lord, I would say to them, the mass of beings dwells upon what the realm of non-arising dwells upon." The Blessed One asked, "Mañjuśhrī, when you cultivate the perfection of wisdom, what is it that you dwell upon as you cultivate the perfection of wisdom?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "Blessed Lord, when I cultivate the perfection of wisdom, I cultivate the perfection of wisdom without dwelling upon anything." The Blessed One asked, For one who does not dwell upon anything, Mañjuśhrī, what is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom? Mañjuśhrī replied, Blessed Lord, not dwelling upon anything whatsoever is itself the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. The Blessed One asked, When you cultivate the perfection of wisdom, Mañjuśhrī, which of your wholesome roots are then increased or decreased? Mañjuśhrī replied, Blessed Lord, there are no wholesome roots of mine whatsoever that are increased or decreased. Blessed Lord, if one has any dharma that is increased or decreased, that is not the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, one should know that approaching it for the sake of increasing or decreasing any dharma is not the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, neither abandoning the dharmas of an ordinary person nor taking hold of the dharmas of a Buddha is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom is not dwelling upon any dharma whatsoever, because of not apprehending a dharma to be abandoned or taken hold of. Blessed Lord, neither proceeding toward the faults of samsara nor toward the virtues of nirvana is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, I do not even see samsara, let alone look for the faults of samsara. I do not apprehend nirvana, let alone look for the virtues of nirvana. Blessed Lord, not taking up, grasping or being rid of any dharma whatsoever is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, not apprehending the diminishment or growth of any dharma whatsoever is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, non-arising has neither diminishment nor growth. It is such cultivation, Blessed Lord, that is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, not causing any dharma whatsoever to arise or cease is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, not causing any dharma whatsoever to diminish or expand is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. It is such cultivation, Blessed Lord, that is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Furthermore, Blessed Lord, not aspiring for any dharmas whatsoever that are inconceivable, nor for those that are limited, but rather, Blessed Lord, there being nothing to aspire for and nothing by which to aspire. It is that is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. When one cultivates in that way, Blessed Lord, it is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, one does not approach the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom in this way, thinking, these dharmas are superior, these dharmas are inferior. Rather, one does not apprehend those dharmas that would be superior or inferior. The child of good family who is engaged in the practice of cultivating the perfection of wisdom in that way does not apprehend any dharmas. Blessed Lord, the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom does not imagine any dharma as superior or inferior. Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, non-arising does not have any superior or inferior whatsoever, nor do suchness, the very limit of reality, up to all dharmas have any superior or inferior whatsoever. When one cultivates in that way, Blessed Lord, it is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. When this was said, the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Are the dharmas of a Buddha not superior, Mañjuśhrī? Mañjuśhrī replied, It is because they are ungraspable, Blessed Lord, and that the dharmas of a Buddha are superior. Is it, Blessed Lord, that the Tathagata has fully awakened to all dharmas being empty? The Blessed One said, So it is, Mañjuśhrī. The Tathagata has fully awakened to all dharmas being empty. Mañjuśhrī asked, Blessed Lord, does emptiness have any superior or inferior? The Blessed One said, Excellent, Mañjuśhrī, excellent. So it is, Mañjuśhrī, it is as you say. Are the dharmas of a Buddha not unsurpassed, Mañjuśhrī? Mañjuśhrī replied, So it is. The dharmas of a Buddha are unsurpassed. Why is that? For thus, Blessed Lord, even the slightest dharma among them does not exist and is not apprehended. Hence those dharmas of a Buddha are unsurpassed. Furthermore, Blessed Lord, neither accomplishing the dharmas of a Buddha nor abandoning the dharmas of an ordinary person, neither training in the dharmas of a Buddha, nor upholding them, is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Furthermore, Blessed Lord, not thinking about or cognizing any dharma whatsoever is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. The Blessed One asked, Mañjuśhrī, do you not think about the dharmas of a Buddha? Mañjuśhrī replied, Blessed Lord, if I were to see the actualization of the dharmas of a Buddha, I would think about the dharmas of a Buddha. Blessed Lord, the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom is not approached by the conceptualization of any dharma whatsoever, thinking, these are the dharmas of an ordinary person. These are the dharmas of a Shravaka. These are the dharmas of a Pratyeka Buddha, or these are the dharmas of perfect Buddha. Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, the child of good family who is engaged in the practice of cultivating the perfection of wisdom does not apprehend those dharmas. The dharmas that are called the dharmas of an ordinary person, the dharmas of one in training, the dharmas of one no longer in training, the dharmas of a Pratyeka Buddha, or the dharmas of a perfect Buddha, are the reality that is beyond extremes, so I neither apprehend nor observe those dharmas. When one cultivates in that way, Blessed Lord, it is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, a child of good family who is engaged in the practice of cultivating the perfection of wisdom does not think, this is the desire realm, this is the form realm, this is the formless realm, up to, this is the element of cessation. Why is that? For thus, Blessed Lord, he does not observe any dharma whatsoever that is the dharma of cessation. Such cultivation, Blessed Lord, is to be known as the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Furthermore, Blessed Lord, neither benefiting nor harming any dharma whatsoever is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom is not a bestower of the dharmas of a Buddha, nor a severer of the dharmas of an ordinary person. Blessed Lord, when there is no cessation of the dharmas of an ordinary person and no attaining the dharmas of a Buddha, it is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. When this was said, the Blessed One said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, It is excellent, Mañjuśhrī, excellent that you have taught such a profound dharma as this. Mañjuśhrī, you have placed this seal in order to cause bodhisattva mahasattvas, those in the Shravaka vehicle who are conceited, and those in the bodhisattva vehicle who engage in apprehension to realize how it really is. Mañjuśhrī, the sons or daughters of good family who, upon hearing this teaching on the profound perfection of wisdom, will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear, are not those who have reverently attended upon a single Buddha, are not those who have planted wholesome roots with a single Buddha. When this was said, the youthful Mañjuśhrī said to the Blessed One, Blessed Lord, I am inspired to teach extensively on the perfection of wisdom. May you be so inspired, Mañjuśhrī, the Blessed One replied. Mañjuśhrī said, Blessed Lord, neither apprehending the continuation of any dharma, nor apprehending its non-continuation is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Why is that? One does not apprehend it because all dharmas do not continue. Blessed Lord, not approaching it in order to take as support any dharma whatsoever is to be known as the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Why is that? For thus, Blessed Lord, all dharmas are without support. Such cultivation, Blessed Lord, is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Furthermore, Blessed Lord, when even the dharmas of a Buddha do not become manifest, let alone the dharmas of a Pratyeka Buddha, and when even the dharmas of a Shravaka do not become manifest, let alone the dharmas of an ordinary person, that should be seen as the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. Furthermore, Blessed Lord, the cultivation on which one depends, not conceptualizing even the inconceivable dharmas of the Buddhas as the inconceivable dharmas of the Buddhas, is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. This cultivation of the perfection of wisdom, Blessed Lord, should be seen as the bodhisattva mahasattva's non-conceptualization of any dharmas. Furthermore, blessed Lord, the cultivation on which one depends and without seeing sees all dharmas as the dharmas of the Buddhas and sees all dharmas as inconceivable dharmas is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. The sons and daughters of good family who, upon hearing this teaching on the perfection of wisdom, will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear, are those who have reverently attended upon many thousands of Buddhas. Furthermore, blessed Lord, not observing any dharma as that is defiled or purified is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. When one cultivates in that way, blessed Lord, it is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. And, blessed Lord, the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom does not differentiate between ordinary people, Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, or perfect Buddhas. That, blessed Lord, is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom. The Blessed One then asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Mañjuśhrī, how many Tathagatas have you reverently attended upon? Mañjuśhrī replied, Blessed Lord, as many as an illusory person's minds and mental factors that have ceased. That many Tathagatas, blessed Lord, have I reverently attended upon. The Blessed One asked, Mañjuśhrī, did you not set out for the dharmas of a Buddha? Mañjuśhrī replied, Is there, blessed Lord, any dharma whatsoever that has set out for the dharmas of a Buddha that can be apprehended? The Blessed One asked, Who then, Mañjuśhrī, has these dharmas of a Buddha? Mañjuśhrī replied, If even for the Blessed One himself not even the names of these dharmas of a Buddha exist or are apprehended, how then could others come to have them? The Blessed One asked, Mañjuśhrī, have you attained the state of non-attachment? Mañjuśhrī replied, Blessed Lord, when in fact I am the state of non-attachment, would I also attain the state of non-attachment? The Blessed One asked, Are you seated, Mañjuśhrī, at the seat of awakening? Mañjuśhrī replied, If one takes as the measure of authority the very limit of reality, when even the Blessed One himself is not seated at the seat of awakening, how then could I be? The Blessed One asked, Mañjuśhrī, what does the very limit of reality refer to? Mañjuśhrī replied, Lord, the very limit of reality refers to the perishing collection. The Blessed One asked, What do you mean, Mañjuśhrī, when you say that? Mañjuśhrī replied, Since that collection does not exist, blessed Lord, it is not a perishing collection. It neither passes on nor is it free from passing on. Hence this collection is not a perishing collection. Then the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra said to the Blessed One, Blessed Lord, those bodhisattva mahasattvas who, upon hearing this teaching on the perfection of wisdom, will be firmly convinced and will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear, they will be destined for awakening. Then the bodhisattva Mahasattva Maitreya said to the Blessed One, Blessed Lord, those bodhisattva mahasattvas who, upon hearing this teaching on the perfection of wisdom, will be firmly convinced, and will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear, they will be close to awakening. Why is that? Because, blessed Lord, understanding these dharmas is itself supreme awakening. Then the youthful Mañjuśhrī said to the Blessed One, Blessed Lord, those bodhisattva mahasattvas who, upon hearing this teaching on the perfection of wisdom, will be firmly convinced and will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear, they should be seen as Buddhas. Why is that? Because Buddha ultimately refers to non-arising. Then the woman Niralamba said to the Blessed One, Lord, those bodhisattva mahasattvas who, upon hearing this perfection of wisdom, will be firmly convinced and will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear. They will not take as support the dharmas of ordinary people, the dharmas of Shravakas, the dharmas of Pratyeka Buddhas, or the dharmas of perfect Buddhas. Why is that? For thus, blessed Lord, all dharmas are without support, because they do not exist. Hence, there is no support for them. Thereupon the Blessed One said to the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, "So it is, Śhāradvatīputra, so it is. Those sons or daughters of good family who, upon hearing this teaching on the profound perfection of wisdom, will be firmly convinced and will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear, they will be destined for awakening. You should know, Śhāradvatīputra, that those sons and daughters of good family who, upon hearing the teaching on the perfection of wisdom, will be firmly convinced and will not be frightened, will not be terrified, will not fall into fear, and will receive it on the crown of their head. They will dwell on the level of irreversibility. Śhāradvatīputra, those who, upon hearing this teaching on the perfection of wisdom, will be firmly convinced and will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear, they will each become supreme benefactors. They will each become great benefactors. They will each become most excellent benefactors. Śhāradvatīputra, they will each become accomplished in ethical conduct. They will each come to possess supreme ethical conduct. They will each come to have the most excellent ethical conduct. They will each attain the path of the virtues of ethical conduct. Śhāradvatīputra, those who upon hearing this teaching on the perfection of wisdom will be firmly convinced and will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear. They will each come to possess supreme patience, supreme diligence, supreme meditation, and supreme wisdom without equal. Śhāradvatīputra, those bodhisattva mahasattvas who, upon hearing this teaching on the perfection of wisdom, will be firmly convinced and will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear, they will each come to possess the knowledge of an omniscient one in all its excellent aspects. The Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī further, "What aim, Mañjuśhrī, do you have in view as you wish to fully awaken to unsurpassed perfect awakening?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "If, Blessed Lord, I had set out for awakening, I would thus wish to fully awaken to it. But I do not, Blessed Lord, aspire for awakening. Why is that? Because this youthful Mañjuśhrī is in fact awakening." When this was said, the Blessed One said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "It is excellent, Mañjuśhrī, excellent that you teach such very profound points as these. You have thus served past victorious ones, and for a long time you have practiced the spiritual life without apprehending anything." Mañjuśhrī said, "Blessed Lord, if I practiced without apprehending anything, a dharma would be obtained." When this was said, the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "Do you see, Mañjuśhrī, these accomplished Shravakas of mine?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "I see them, Blessed Lord." The Blessed One asked, "How do you see them?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "I see in such a way, Blessed Lord, that I do not see ordinary people. I do not see those who are in training, and I do not see those who are no longer in training. I neither see them, nor do I not see them. I see in such a way that I neither see many, nor do I see few. I neither see those who are disciplined, nor do I see those who are undisciplined." Then the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "Mañjuśhrī, when you see those who are in the Shravaka vehicle in this way, then how do you see those who are in the vehicle of perfect Buddhas?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, I do not observe any dharma called bodhisattva. I do not observe any dharma called set out for awakening. I do not observe any dharma called practice for the sake of awakening. I do not observe any dharma called fully awakened to it. In that way, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, do I see those in the vehicle of perfect Buddhas." Śhāradvatīputra then asked, "How, Mañjuśhrī, do you see the Tathagata?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "Leave the great elephant be, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra. Do not disturb the great elephant." When this was said, the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "Mañjuśhrī, what does the Buddha refer to?" Mañjuśhrī said, "Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, what does the self refer to?" Śhāradvatīputra replied, "Mañjuśhrī, the self refers to nonarising." Mañjuśhrī said, "So it is, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra. The self refers to that which the Buddha refers to. Moreover, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, the Buddha is a referent without basis. It is difficult, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, to make known the Buddha through speech. If even speech, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, is difficult to delineate as speech, what to say then of the Buddha?" Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, you ask what it is that the Buddha refers to. What does not really exist, has not arisen and will not cease. What does not possess any dharma whatsoever, there is in that case no basis whatsoever, no basis for separation, what is baseless. This, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, is what the Buddha refers to. Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, one who wants to search for the Tathagata should search for the self. Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, the self refers to the Buddha. Just as the self is absolutely non-existent and not apprehended, just so the Buddha too is absolutely non-existent and not apprehended. Just as the self cannot be spoken about by way of any dharma, just so the Buddha too cannot be spoken about by way of any dharma. That in which there is nothing to be reckoned is the Buddha. The referential designation, the self, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, is not easy to understand. Likewise, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, the referential designation, the Buddha, is not easy to understand. Then the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra said to the Blessed One, "Blessed Lord, this youthful Mañjuśhrī does not teach in a way that beginners would understand." When this was said, the youthful Mañjuśhrī said to the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, "I do not teach the Dharma, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, in a way that even realized arhats will understand. I do not teach in a way that anyone will understand." Why is that? Because awakening has not been understood by anyone, it has not been cognized by anyone, it has not been fully realized by anyone, it has not been seen, it has not been heard, it has not been recollected, it has not been produced, it has not been obstructed, it has not been described, and it has not been taught. Awakening, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, is like that. That awakening is not an entity. Why is that? Because there is nothing whatsoever to be fully awakened to by awakening, and awakening does not become fully awakened to awakening. Śhāradvatīputra asked, "Mañjuśhrī, did the Blessed One not become fully awakened to the Dharmadhatu?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "He did not, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra." Why is that? Because, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, the Dharmadhatu is in fact the Blessed One. If, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, the Blessed One, were to have become fully awakened to the Dharmadhatu, then it would be opposed to the element of non-arising. Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, that Dharmadhatu is in fact awakening. Why is that? Because the Dharmadhatu is without any being. All dharmas have no real existence. Refers to awakening. It is this which is reckoned the Dharmadhatu. Why is that? Because all dharmas are without differentiation in the Buddha's sphere of experience. Without differentiation, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra is without making anything known. Without making anything known, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra means not being able to make anything known. From not making anything known as being conditioned, up to not making anything known as being unconditioned. There is no making known anything whatsoever therein, hence it is without making anything known. All dharmas, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, are without making anything known. Why is that? Because all dharmas are without arising, dwelling somewhere and making themselves known. Those who set out for the immediate set out for the inconceivable. Those who set out for the inconceivable set out for reality. Why is that? Because reality, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, is not a basis for separation. Those who are endowed with the inconceivable do not go to the heavens, they do not go to the hells, and they do not go to nirvana. Why is that? Because the inconceivable is not attended from by going or not going, up to is not attended by going or not going to nirvana. Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, those who are engaged in the four root offences are engaged in the rootless. Why is that? Because, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, nonarising does not have a so-called root or tip. Rootless monk refers to a non-abiding monk. A dispute refers to surpassing superimposition. Conducting oneself in surpassing superimposition, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, one is worthy of offerings in the world. Why is that? Because that surpassing superimposition is the same. A monk who has faith, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, is not worthy to enjoy a gift given out of faith. A monk who has no faith, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, is worthy to enjoy a gift given out of faith. A monk who is proper, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, is not worthy to enjoy a gift given out of faith. A monk who is not proper, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, is worthy to enjoy a gift given out of faith. A monk whose manner is unimpaired is called an arhat whose contaminants are exhausted. Śhāradvatīputra asked, "What do you mean, Mañjuśhrī, when you say that?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "Sameness does not impair sameness, and that is in fact the manner. That is what I mean, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, when I say that a monk whose manner is unimpaired is called an arhat whose contaminants are exhausted. One who has not transcended fear, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, refers to an arhat whose contaminants are exhausted." Śhāradvatīputra asked, "What do you mean, Mañjuśhrī, when you say that?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "If even the slightest of their fears does not exist, what will they transcend?" Śhāradvatīputra asked, "Mañjuśhrī, who does one for whom patient acceptance has not arisen refer to?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, one who has not given rise to even the slightest dharma is called one for whom patient acceptance has not arisen." Śhāradvatīputra asked, "Mañjuśhrī, who does an undisciplined monk refer to?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, an undisciplined monk refers to an arhat whose contaminants are exhausted." Why is that? Because being undisciplined is being disciplined, but being disciplined is being undisciplined. That is what I mean, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, when I say that an undisciplined monk refers to an arhat whose contaminants are exhausted. Venerable Śhāradvatīputra enjoys the higher mind refers to an ordinary person. Śhāradvatīputra asked, "What do you mean, Mañjuśhrī, when you say that?" Mañjuśhrī said, "It is because, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, that one surpasses." When this was said, the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "It is excellent, Mañjuśhrī, excellent that you speak about how an arhat is one whose contaminants are exhausted." Mañjuśhrī replied, "So it is, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra. It is just as you say. I am one whose contaminants are exhausted, yet I am not an arhat. Why is that? Because, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, my hope for the level of a Shravaka or the level of a Pratyeka Buddha has been exhausted. For that reason, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, I am one whose contaminants are exhausted, yet I am not an arhat." Thereupon the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "Is there any reason, Mañjuśhrī, why a bodhisattva mahasattva would be seated at the seat of awakening but unable to become fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "There is, Blessed Lord, a reason why a bodhisattva mahasattva would be seated at the seat of awakening but unable to become fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening. Why is that? Because in awakening, not even the slightest dharma exists nor is apprehended. Hence it is called unsurpassed perfect awakening, and that awakening is unarisen. Upon it there is nothing that exists and nothing that is apprehended that is seated at the seat of awakening, or anyone who becomes fully awakened to awakening, or anything by which awakening is fully awakened to, or any awakening that is fully awakened to, or any rising from the seat of awakening." For this reason, blessed Lord, a bodhisattva mahasattva is seated at the seat of awakening, but unable to become fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening. When this was said, the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Mañjuśhrī, what does awakening refer to? Mañjuśhrī replied, Blessed Lord, awakening refers to the 5 acts with immediate retribution. Why is that? Because, blessed Lord, they have no real existence. Those 5 acts with immediate retribution, in fact, have the nature of awakening. Hence, that awakening has the nature of the 5 acts with immediate retribution. To fully realize the acts with immediate retribution is not awakening, and the direct perception of all dharmas is also not awakening. Why is that? Because all dharmas are absolutely not directly perceived. They are not fully realized by anyone. They are not seen, they are not heard, they are not known, and they are not understood. Thus it is awakening. However, blessed Lord, those who are conceited posit them from having been fully awakened to up to having been directly perceived. When this was said, the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Do you think of me, Mañjuśhrī, by thinking the Tathagata is my Tathagata? Mañjuśhrī replied, No, blessed Lord. Why, blessed Lord, would I think the Tathagata is my Tathagata? Why is that? Because, blessed Lord, thusness is the Tathagata himself. So, blessed Lord, thusness does not make the Tathagata known, nor does the Tathagata make thusness known. Why is that? Because, blessed Lord, thusness ultimately has no real existence, and the Tathagata has no real existence. Therefore, blessed Lord, I do not think the Tathagata is my Tathagata. Blessed Lord, Tathagata is just a name. So in case I should think the Tathagata is my Tathagata, what is the Tathagata? The Blessed One asked, Do you have doubts, Mañjuśhrī, about the Tathagata? Mañjuśhrī replied, No, blessed Lord. If, blessed Lord, there were any perfect Tathagatas, whether Tathagatas who have arisen or Tathagatas who have attained parinirvana, I would have doubts. When this was said, the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Do you not think, Mañjuśhrī, that the Tathagata has arisen? Mañjuśhrī replied, If the Dharmadhatu had an arising of blessed Lord, I would think that the Tathagata had arisen. The Blessed One asked, Do you not believe, Mañjuśhrī, that blessed Buddhas as numerous as the grains of sand in the Ganges river have attained parinirvana? Mañjuśhrī replied, Blessed Lord, is it not that the blessed Buddhas are a single sphere, as the inconceivable sphere? The Blessed One said, So it is, Mañjuśhrī. The blessed Buddhas are a single sphere, as the inconceivable sphere. Mañjuśhrī asked, Blessed Lord, is it now present? The Blessed One said, So it is, Mañjuśhrī. Mañjuśhrī said, Hence, blessed Lord, those blessed Buddhas, as numerous as the grains of sand in the Ganges river, have not attained parinirvana. Why is that? Because, blessed Lord, the blessed Buddhas are a single sphere, as the inconceivable sphere, and inconceivability does not arise, nor does it cease. Therefore, blessed Lord, with the Blessed One having fully awakened to it, those who will be Tathagatas, Arhats, perfect Buddhas in the future, will also have fully awakened to it. Why is that? Because the inconceivable has no past, future, or present. Therefore, blessed Lord, those who think from the Tathagata has arisen up to he will attain parinirvana, their engagement with the world is erroneous. Blessed Lord, they mentally proliferate engagement with the world. When this was said, the Blessed One then said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Hence, Mañjuśhrī, when you speak before a Tathagata, or an irreversible bodhisattva mahasattva, or an arhat whose contaminants are exhausted, you should declare that Tathagatas are inconceivable, unthinkable, unfathomable, beyond thought. Why is that? Because upon hearing it, they will neither praise nor reject it. Why is that? Because it is inconceivable, unthinkable, and unfathomable. Mañjuśhrī said, "Blessed Lord, all dharmas are inconceivable and unthinkable. Who would praise or reject them?" The Blessed One asked, "Mañjuśhrī, just as the Tathagata is unfathomable, are ordinary people also unfathomable?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "Blessed Lord, ordinary people are also unfathomable." The Blessed One said, "So it is, Mañjuśhrī. Why is that?" "Because all thought is unfathomable." Mañjuśhrī said, "Blessed Lord, why is it that the Blessed One asked, just as the Tathagata is unfathomable, are ordinary people also unfathomable?" "Blessed Lord, are not ordinary people in fact unfathomable?" "Why is that?" "Because, Blessed Lord, all dharmas are unfathomable. If someone, Blessed Lord, has set out for nirvana, they will be bereft, Blessed One. Why is that?" "Because the unfathomable is in fact nirvana. Therefore, Blessed Lord, there is no differentiation in the unfathomable. Blessed Lord, to those who say, 'These are the dharmas of ordinary people,' or 'These are the dharmas of noble ones,' one should say this: first, you should reverently attend upon virtuous friends, and then you should come to know, 'These are the dharmas of ordinary people,' or 'These are the dharmas of noble ones.'" When this was said, the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "Do you maintain, Mañjuśhrī, that the Tathagata is the foremost of all beings?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "If there were anyone perfect among beings here, Blessed Lord, I would maintain that the Tathagata is the foremost of all beings." The Blessed One asked, "Do you maintain, Mañjuśhrī, that the Tathagata is endowed with inconceivable dharmas?" Mañjuśhrī said, "If there were anyone endowed with inconceivable dharmas, Blessed Lord, I would maintain that the Tathagata is endowed with inconceivable dharmas." The Blessed One asked, "Do you maintain, Mañjuśhrī, that these Shravakas have been tamed by the Tathagata?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "Blessed Lord, if anyone were to tame the inconceivable realm, I would maintain that these Shravakas have been tamed by the Tathagata." "Blessed Lord, it is not that the appearance of a Buddha occurs to benefit or harm anyone. Why is that?" "Because that realm is constant, that realm is unadulterated. It is the inconceivable realm, and in that realm there is from no differentiation of Shravakas up to no differentiation of ordinary people that is apprehended." The Blessed One asked, "Do you not maintain, Mañjuśhrī, that the Tathagata is an unsurpassed field of merit?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "It is because of not having any real existence, Blessed Lord, that the Tathagata is a field of merit. Hence it is an unsurpassed field of merit. It is not a field that is full, nor is it a field that is not full, nor is it not a field. Hence it is an unsurpassed field of merit. Furthermore, Blessed Lord, there is no dharma whatsoever that comes into being in it or comes to an end. Thus it is a field of merit. The seed that is sown in it does not grow, nor does it decay." The Blessed One asked, "What do you mean, Mañjuśhrī, when you say, 'The seed that is sown in that field does not grow, nor does it decay'?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "For thus, Blessed Lord, that field is inconceivable. In that way it is a field of merit." Then, at that moment, by the Buddha's sublime power, the earth shook in 6 ways. 16,000 monks had their minds liberated from the contaminants by no longer clinging. 700 nuns, 300 laymen, 40,000 laywomen, and 600 sextillion gods of the desire realm had the dustless and stainless Dharma I arise in regard to dharmas. Thereupon the Venerable Ananda rose from his seat, covered one shoulder with his robe, placed his right knee on the ground, bowed to the Blessed One with folded hands, and asked the Blessed One, "What is the reason, Blessed Lord? What is the cause for this great earthquake to have occurred in the world?" At this the Blessed One said to the Venerable Ananda, "Ananda, this Dharma discourse named the Teaching on the Field of Merit was also expounded by previous blessed Buddhas on this very spot of earth. This, Ananda, is the reason, this is the cause for this great earthquake to have occurred in the world." Then the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra said to the Blessed One, "This Mañjuśhrī is the lustre of the inconceivable Blessed Lord. Why is that? For thus whatever it is that vividly inspires him, what vividly inspires him is in fact the inconceivable." The Blessed One then said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "So it is, Mañjuśhrī. It is just as the monk Śhāradvatīputra says. Whatever it is that vividly inspires the youthful Mañjuśhrī, everything that vividly inspires him is in fact the inconceivable." When this was said, the youthful Mañjuśhrī said to the Blessed One, "The inconceivable does not vividly come to mind, Blessed Lord. If the inconceivable were vividly inspiring, it would not in fact be unthinkable. Rather, there is nothing whatsoever that is not inconceivable. All language, Blessed Lord, is inconceivable. Inconceivability is not language. What is not language and what is not language cannot be taught." The Blessed One asked, "Do you then, Mañjuśhrī, meditatively enter inconceivable samādhi?" Mañjuśhrī replied, "No, Blessed Lord, I do not meditatively enter inconceivable samādhi." Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, I am in fact inconceivable samādhi. If I were conceivable, Blessed Lord, I would meditatively enter inconceivable samādhi. If samādhi, Blessed Lord, is unthinkable, inconceivable, and unfathomable, how then could I meditatively enter inconceivable samādhi? However, Blessed Lord, previously, when I was a beginner, I would think, I should meditatively enter inconceivable samādhi. But now, Blessed Lord, the thought, I should meditatively enter inconceivable samādhi, does not occur. It is like this, Blessed Lord. A master of archery, when previously training at the level of a beginner, had the thought, I should strike plows. However, when he perfects striking hares, because he has become well trained in striking hares, the thought, I should strike plows, no longer arises in him. And when he then wishes to strike hares, he strikes them effortlessly. Likewise, Blessed Lord, previously I would think, I should meditatively enter inconceivable samādhi. But when, having meditatively entered that samādhi, I remained in it, I did not again think I should remain in this samādhi. Why is that? Because whenever I remain in this samādhi is not imputed. Then the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra said to the Blessed One, Blessed Lord, if, while remaining in this inconceivable samādhi, the youthful Mañjuśhrī does not depend on it, is there, Blessed Lord, another samādhi that is more peaceful than this inconceivable samādhi? The youthful Mañjuśhrī then said to the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, when the Venerable Śhāradvatīputra asks, is there another samādhi that is more peaceful than this inconceivable samādhi? How do you know, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, that this inconceivable samādhi is peaceful? If, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, this inconceivable samādhi were to exist and to be apprehended, there would be another samādhi that is more peaceful than this inconceivable samādhi. Śhāradvatīputra asked, Mañjuśhrī, is this inconceivable samādhi non-existent and not apprehended? Mañjuśhrī said, that is so, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, that is the inconceivable samādhi. Hence this inconceivable samādhi is non-existent and not apprehended. Yet, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, there is no one at all who has not attained this inconceivable samādhi. All beings, Venerable Śhāradvatīputra, have attained the inconceivable samādhi. Why is that? Everything conceivable is inconceivable, and that which is inconceivable is the inconceivable samādhi. Therefore all beings have attained this inconceivable samādhi. The Blessed One then said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, it is excellent, Mañjuśhrī, excellent that you teach all such very profound points as these. You have thus served past victorious ones, and for a long time you have practiced the spiritual life without apprehending anything. Mañjuśhrī, do you think, abiding in the perfection of wisdom, I speak in that way? Mañjuśhrī replied, if, Blessed Lord, I were to speak in that way abiding in the perfection of wisdom, I would likewise speak in that way abiding in the apprehending of something. I would speak in what way from abiding in the notion of a self up to abiding in the notion of a real entity. Therefore I do not speak in that way, abiding in the perfection of wisdom. Why is that? If, blessed Lord, there were an abiding place in the perfection of wisdom, or if there were the lack of an abiding place, it would not be the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, the abiding place of a self is the abiding place of the perfection of wisdom. It has no place, it has no origination, it has no space, and it has no emergence. Thus this abiding place is not the abiding place of any Dharma. Hence this abiding place is an inconceivable abiding place, the abiding place of the perfection of wisdom. Blessed Lord, as for what is called the perfection of wisdom, it is the non-arising of all dharmas that is the perfection of wisdom. The perfection of wisdom refers to the inconceivable realm. The inconceivable realm is the realm of non-arising. The realm of non-arising is the Dharmadhatu, and the Dharmadhatu is the realm without origination. The realm without origination is the inconceivable realm. The inconceivable realm is the realm of a self. The realm of a self is the realm of the perfection of wisdom. Thus the realm of the perfection of wisdom and the realm of a self are without duality and cannot be divided into two. Since it is without duality and cannot be divided into two, it is the inconceivable realm. Since it is the inconceivable realm, it is the realm of non-arising. Since it is the realm of non-arising, it is the Dharmadhatu. Since it is the Dharmadhatu, it is the realm without origination. Since it is the realm without origination, it is the inconceivable realm. Since it is the inconceivable realm, it is the realm of a self. Since it is the realm of a self, it is the realm of the perfection of wisdom. Since it is the realm of the perfection of wisdom, it is the inconceivable realm. Since it is the inconceivable realm, it is the realm that does not come into being. That which does not come into being does not exist. That which does not exist does not perish. That which does not perish is inconceivable. Thus, the realm of the Tathagata and the realm of a self are without duality and cannot be divided into two. For the Blessed One has said, "The cultivation of the self is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom." Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, the perfection of wisdom refers to the realm of a self. Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, one who knows the realm of a self knows the realm of non-attachment. One who knows the state of non-attachment does not know any Dharma whatsoever. Why is that? Because inconceivable knowing is the Buddha's knowing. Not knowing any Dharma whatsoever is the Buddha's knowing. Why is that? Because that knowing is ultimately non-existent. How could what is ultimately non-existent turn the wheel of the Dharma? When that knowing is ultimately non-existent, then that knowing is without attachment. When that knowing is without attachment, then that knowing has no real existence. When that knowing has no real existence, then that knowing has no objects. When that knowing has no objects, then that knowing does not abide. When that knowing does not abide, then that knowing is without support. When that knowing is without support, then that knowing is unproduced, unattained, and will not arise. Why is that? Because that knowing is not conditioned by qualities, nor is it conditioned by non-qualities. Why is that? For thus that knowing is inconceivable. Hence, how could qualities or non-qualities be pointed out? Because that knowing is inconceivable, that knowing is unthinkable. Such knowing is the Buddha's knowing by way of not apprehending anything. There is no Dharma whatsoever that has been fully awakened to or known by that knowing. That knowing did not come before or later, because that knowing did not arise previously, nor did that knowing not arise previously, it is unarisen. That which is unarisen will not disappear and will not be cut off. There is no knowing whatsoever like that knowing. Hence that knowing is inconceivable and incomparable. No beginning, middle, or end of that knowing can be apprehended. Hence that knowing is like space. Nothing equal or unequal to that knowing can be apprehended. Hence that knowing is equal to the unequaled. No other knowing that is like that knowing can be apprehended. Hence that knowing is without equal. Then the Blessed One said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Mañjuśhrī, is this knowing then not immutable? Mañjuśhrī replied, Lord, this knowing is uncreated, hence it is immutable. It is like this, blessed Lord, an unstruck Karsapana coin is reckoned to be neither mutable nor immutable. Likewise, blessed Lord, this knowing is uncreated, unaccomplished, unproduced, unarisen, and unceased. Hence it is immutable. Then the Blessed One asked the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Mañjuśhrī, who will be firmly convinced of such a teaching as this teaching on the Tathagata's knowing? Mañjuśhrī said, Blessed Lord, those who do not have the character of samsara, those who do not have the character of parinirvana, those who have not wavered from the perishing collection, those whose passion, aversion, and delusion have not been extinguished, they will be firmly convinced of it. Why is that? Because what is not extinguished does not become extinguished or come to be completely extinguished. Those who have not gone beyond samsara and who are not reckoned to be in samsara, those who are not apart from the path and who do not give rise to the notion of a path, they will understand the meaning of what has been said. When this was said, the Blessed One said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Excellent, Mañjuśhrī, excellent. This speech of yours is well spoken. Then, at that moment, the Venerable Mahakashyapa asked the Blessed One, In the future will there be, Blessed Lord, any people who will listen to this profound Dharma and Vinaya and this profound perfection of wisdom, who will be firmly convinced of it, and who will understand it and who uphold it? When this was said, the Blessed One replied to the Venerable Mahakashyapa, Kashyapa, in this very assembly there are monks, nuns, laymen and laywomen who, in the future, will listen to this profound Dharma and Vinaya and this profound perfection of wisdom, be firmly convinced of it, understand it, and uphold it. It is like this, Kashyapa. If a householder or a householder's son lost a precious gem worth hundreds of thousands, he would be distressed and unhappy. But if he found it, he would be joyful and happy, and no longer mentally preoccupied. Just so, Kashyapa, if these monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen have not listened this profound perfection of wisdom, unarisen, unoriginated, and from by nature parinirvana, up to without real existence, they think, we have not listened to such a profound perfection of wisdom as this. Unarisen, unoriginated, and from by nature parinirvana, up to without real existence. But then, when they hear it at another time, they will be elated, joyful, happy, and no longer mentally preoccupied. And they will say, since we have heard this profound perfection of wisdom, unarisen, without real existence, and unoriginated, then today we have seen the Buddha, and have reverently attended upon the Tathagata. It is like this, Kashyapa. The gods of the heaven of 33, seeing the Pariyatra tree budding, will be happy and delighted, thinking, oh, before long this Pariyatra tree will be completely in full bloom. Just so, Kashyapa, those monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen, when they hear this profound perfection of wisdom, from unarisen, unoriginated, up to without real existence, will be happy and delighted. You should know, Kashyapa, that those who in the future will be happy and delighted when they hear this profound perfection of wisdom, from unarisen, unoriginated, up to without real existence, they are here in this very assembly of mine. And you should know that those who in the future will be happy and delighted, they will, because of their happiness and delight, before long be completely in full bloom, blossoming with the flowers of all the dharmas of a Buddha. Kashyapa, you should know that the fact that this profound perfection of wisdom, from unarisen, unoriginated up to without real existence, will in the future, after the Tathagata's passing, remain and spread, is due, Kashyapa, to the Buddha's sustained blessing and the Buddha's sublime power. Therefore, Kashyapa, when those who hear this profound perfection of wisdom, from unarisen, unoriginated up to without real existence, are elated, it will not be their first time hearing it. It is like this, Kashyapa. You should know that when a jeweler sees a precious gem and is elated, it is not the first time that the jeweler has seen a precious gem, rather they must have frequently seen precious gems before. Just so, Kashyapa, those who are elated, delighted, pleased, enraptured, and happy when they hear this profound perfection of wisdom, from unarisen, unoriginated up to without real existence, it will not be their first time hearing it, Kashyapa. Kashyapa, those who will say, please speak about this very teaching of the youthful Mañjuśhrī on the from unarisen, up to without real existence, unoriginated, they will have reverently attended upon the youthful Mañjuśhrī frequently before. It is like this, Kashyapa. Suppose a person had gone to some village, city, town, or region for a certain purpose, and then, at another time, someone went to visit them and spoke in praise of that city, speaking in praise of its delightful parks, its delightful environs, its delightful ponds, its delightful gardens, its delightful fountains, pools, and water reservoirs, and its delightful flowers and fruits. Hearing that, they would feel elated. Happy, they would ask again and again, saying, "Describe this again, friend." They would thus become familiar, since that person had experienced the city before, with its delightful parks, its delightful environs, its delightful ponds, its delightful gardens, its delightful fountains, pools and water reservoirs, and its delightful flowers and fruits. Why is that? Because, having heard about it, they were overjoyed, delighted, pleased, enraptured, and happy. Just so, Kashyapa, those who have reverently attended upon the youthful Mañjuśhrī have repeatedly gone to him and questioned him. It is they who, upon hearing this profound perfection of wisdom from unarisen, unoriginated, up to without real existence, will be delighted and pleased. They in whom immense joy and happiness will arise, and they will say, "We will listen to just this, just such a teaching on the perfection of wisdom from unarisen, unoriginated, up to without real existence." When this was said, the Venerable Mahakashyapa asked the Blessed One, "Blessed Lord, and are these, the ones just taught by the Blessed One, the indications, marks, and signs of those sons and daughters of good family who in the future will have faith?" The Blessed One replied, "So it is, Kashyapa. It is just as you say. These, the ones I have just taught, are the indications, marks, and signs of those sons and daughters of good family who in the future will have faith." Then the youthful Mañjuśhrī asked the Blessed One, "Blessed Lord, if that Dharma is without indications, without marks, and without signs, and Blessed Lord, if the perfection of wisdom is from without indications, up to and without signs, then what sort of indications, marks, or signs could there be? If the Blessed One's teaching of the Dharma is without indications, without marks, and without signs, how then, Blessed Lord, could there be a teaching of what is without indications, without marks, and without signs?" When this was said, the Blessed One replied to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "When this profound perfection of wisdom, utterly unarisen and without real existence, is taught, Mañjuśhrī, they will from be firmly convinced up to will master it, and these will be the indications, marks, and signs of those sons and daughters of good family. Mañjuśhrī, wherever the perfection of wisdom is taught, there one sees that all the dharmas of the Buddhas are taught. There one sees the teaching of the inconceivable. Mañjuśhrī, the son or daughter of good family who wants to produce the wholesome roots that I produced while previously practicing the bodhisattva conduct. The wholesome roots by which I became fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening. He or she should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, be firmly convinced of it, write it down, retain it, read it aloud, give instruction in it, recite it, chant it, master it, properly attend to it, cultivate it, and pay homage to and venerate it, according to ability and capacity, with offerings of flowers, incense, fragrances, garlands, unguents, powders, garments, parasols, banners, flags, victory banners, lamps, and so on. The son or daughter of good family who wants to go beyond the level of all the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. Mañjuśhrī, the son or daughter of good family who wants to hear how one enters the level of irreversibility from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. Mañjuśhrī, the son or daughter of good family who wants to become firmly convinced that all dharmas, any of them whatsoever, are the same in being unarisen from, should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. Mañjuśhrī, the son or daughter of good family who wants to become fully awakened to all the dharmas of the Buddhas from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. Mañjuśhrī, the son or daughter of good family who wants to become firmly convinced of this teaching that the Tathagata was fully awakened to all dharmas from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. Why is that? Because there is no dharma whatsoever that exists and is apprehended that becomes fully awakened, by which one is fully awakened, or to which one is fully awakened. So the son or daughter of good family who wants to realize and become firmly convinced of this meaning from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. The son or daughter of good family who wants to become firmly convinced that there is no dharma whatsoever that is not awakening from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. The son or daughter of good family who wants to no longer conceptualize any dharmas from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. Why is that? Because the perfection of wisdom does not establish, produce, or demonstrate the perfection of any dharma. The son or daughter of good family who wants to penetrate the fact that all dharmas are neither defiled nor purified from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. The son or daughter of good family who wants to become firmly convinced of and penetrate the fact that all dharmas are neither past nor future nor present from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. Why is that? Because, Mañjuśhrī, non-arising is not past, not future, not present. Why is that? Because, Mañjuśhrī, all dharmas come down to non-arising. The son or daughter of good family who wants to realize, free from doubt, that all dharmas are just like that from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. Mañjuśhrī, the son or daughter of good family who wants to hear, who wants to realize, who wants to be firmly convinced of, and who wants to penetrate how the wheel of the Dharma is turned with 3 revolutions and 12 aspects from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. The son or daughter of good family who wants to pervade all beings with loving kindness but wants to not abide in the notion of beings, who wants to not dispute with the entire world and wants to realize the non-apprehension of the entire world, from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. The son or daughter of good family who wants to realize the non-arising of all dharmas from should listen to this very perfection of wisdom, up to and venerate it. Thereupon the youthful Mañjuśhrī asked the Blessed One, "Blessed Lord, what are the qualities, what are the benefits of the perfection of wisdom that is without qualities?" Blessed Lord, the perfection of wisdom is without any capability whatsoever. It does not bring anything about, and it does not destroy anything. It does not adopt any dharma, nor does it forsake any. It is unmoving, and it is without activity. The perfection of wisdom is not knowing real existence. It is not seeing real existence. It does not bestow any dharma. It does not contradict any dharmas, and it does not differentiate any dharmas. In that case, Blessed Lord, what are the qualities, what are the benefits of the perfection of wisdom? Blessed Lord, the perfection of wisdom does not make all dharmas one and the same. It does not make all dharmas different. It is uncreated. It is not anything to be done. It is inexhaustible and indestructible. It does not bestow the dharmas of ordinary people, the dharmas of arhats, the dharmas of pratyeka Buddhas, the dharmas of bodhisattvas, or even the dharmas of the Buddhas, nor does it cause them to wane. It does not cause samsara to be appropriated. It does not cause nirvana to be forsaken. It does not bestow the dharmas of the Buddhas. It does not destroy them. It is not conceivable. It is not unthinkable. It does not do anything. It does not annihilate anything. It does not give rise to any dharmas. It does not end them. It does not negate anything. It does not cause anything to last. It does not cause anything to come. It does not cause anything to go. It does not cause anything to be detached. It does not cause anything to be undetached. It does not make anything dual, and it does not make anything non-dual. What are its qualities? What are its benefits? When this was said, the Blessed One said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "These indeed, Mañjuśhrī, should be known as the qualities of this perfection of wisdom. From it is without real existence, up to it is without activity. Furthermore, Mañjuśhrī, the bodhisattva mahasattva, who wants to train in the samādhi of bodhisattvas, who wants to actualize the samādhi of bodhisattvas, remaining in which samādhi all blessed Buddhas appear, and who wants to see their Buddha fields, who wants to know their names, who wants to pay unsurpassed homage to them, who wants to penetrate their teaching of the Dharma, and wants to become firmly convinced, he or she should train in this perfection of wisdom by way of not training." Thereupon the youthful Mañjuśhrī asked the Blessed One, "Blessed Lord, why is this called the perfection of wisdom?" The Blessed One replied, "Because it is unarisen and unceased, Mañjuśhrī. It is called the perfection of wisdom. Because from it is primordially at peace, without release, without anything to be done. Up to it is without real existence, and what is without real existence is the perfection of wisdom. That is why, Mañjuśhrī, one should know that it is the cultivation of the perfection of wisdom of bodhisattva mahasattvas. What is not the experiential domain of all dharmas is the experiential domain of bodhisattva mahasattvas. When conducting oneself in it, a bodhisattva mahasattva is called one who entered the experiential domain. Thus, what is not an experiential domain, the universal vehicle, this in fact is the experiential domain. Why is that? This experiential domain is uncreated. Therefore, it is said to be not an experiential domain." The youthful Mañjuśhrī further asked the Blessed One, "In what does a bodhisattva mahasattva conduct themselves, Blessed Lord, so as to swiftly become fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening?" When this was said, the Blessed One replied, "If they conduct themselves in the perfection of wisdom, Mañjuśhrī, a bodhisattva mahasattva will swiftly become fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening." Mañjuśhrī, there is a samādhi called the single array. If they conduct themselves in that samādhi, a bodhisattva mahasattva will swiftly become fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening. When this was said, the youthful Mañjuśhrī asked the Blessed One, "How, Blessed Lord, should a bodhisattva mahasattva enter the samādhi, the single array?" Why is it called the samadhi of the single array? The Blessed One replied, Single array, Mañjuśhrī, refers to nonarising. The son or daughter of good family who wants to enter the samadhi of the single array first needs to inquire about the perfection of wisdom. After that, he or she will enter the samadhi of the single array. Why is that? Because, Mañjuśhrī, nonarising is immovable, imperturbable, unshakable, inconceivable, unthinkable, and unfathomable. Mañjuśhrī, the son or daughter of good family who wants to enter the samadhi of the single array, should prepare a secluded resting place and should delight in having no social contact. Not paying attention to any signs, he or she should sit down with crossed legs and then direct their attention to one Tathagata and to all dharmas by way of not apprehending anything. Whichever Tathagata he or she directs their attention to, they should take hold of his name. Having heard and apprehended that name, he or she should sit facing the direction where that Tathagata is and direct their attention to him. When they have directed their attention to that Tathagata, by so directing their attention, they will have directed their attention to all blessed Buddhas of the past, future, and present. Why is that? Because the Tathagatas themselves are one. Mañjuśhrī, just as the awakened qualities of a single Tathagata are immeasurable and his eloquence is immeasurable, so too Mañjuśhrī, having attained the samadhi of the single array, the excellent Dharma discourses of the singular non-arising should be known as immeasurable. These Dharma discourses, those that will be set in motion, those that have been spoken by the Tathagatas, Arhats, perfect Buddhas, as many as those received by Ananda, will be illuminated for them, actualizing this samadhi of the single array. For as long as their lifespan may be, they will remain teaching the Dharma together with its narrative context. Mañjuśhrī, when some of those in the bodhisattva vehicle wonder, what is this samadhi of the single array? One should tell them, keep in mind this proclamation of inconceivable qualities. The more you continue to take it up, the more you will come to see the qualities of this samadhi. Do not become disheartened with the method as it has been taught. This samadhi cannot be actualized from with views based on apprehension, views based on entities, views based on existence. Suppose, Mañjuśhrī, a person had a precious gem that was priceless but still unpolished, and someone would say to them, "Hey friend, what is this precious gem worth? What is its quality?" And they would reply, "Please know, friend, that the qualities of this precious gem are immeasurable." Thereupon, they would give the precious gem to that person to polish it, saying, "Polish this precious gem, friend, and then you will know." The person would then take that precious gem from them and polish it with polishing tools, and having polished it, it would be priceless. Having polished that precious gem, they see the qualities of that precious gem. Likewise, Mañjuśhrī, the more the son or daughter of good family meditatively enters and attains this samadhi, the more he or she will see the qualities of this samadhi. It is like this, Mañjuśhrī. The sun's disk has no edge that is not pervaded by light rays. Just so, Mañjuśhrī, upon gaining this samadhi of the single array and having reached and entered it, one does not teach any dharma whatsoever that does not teach the perfection of wisdom. When someone thus knows it, they do not see any dharma whatsoever that is at variance with non-arising. Suppose, Mañjuśhrī, that 4 persons were to scoop up water from the ocean in the 4 directions. Everything that they scoop up is of a single taste, the taste of salt. Likewise, Mañjuśhrī, whatever dharma I have taught, it is all of a single taste, the taste of non-arising, the taste of no real existence, the taste of dispassion, the taste of liberation, the taste of cessation. Therefore, Mañjuśhrī, whatever dharma it is that the son or daughter of good family endowed with this samadhi will teach, he or she will teach all of it as having a single taste. the taste of nonarising, the taste of no real existence, the taste of dispassion, the taste of liberation, the taste of cessation. Upon reaching this samādhi, Mañjuśhrī, the son or daughter of good family, will explain, teach and give instruction on any dharma that has been taught by me as he or she wishes. Thus Mañjuśhrī, upon reaching this samādhi, whatever it is that that son or daughter of good family teaches, he or she will teach it all as unarisen, unoriginated, and without real existence, by way of not apprehending anything. Furthermore, Mañjuśhrī, a bodhisattva mahasattva who reaches this samādhi will swiftly perfect the dharmas that lead to awakening, and will swiftly become fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening. Furthermore, Mañjuśhrī, if a bodhisattva mahasattva does not see arising, cessation, unity or difference in from the realm of a self up to the dharmadhatu, then, Mañjuśhrī, a bodhisattva mahasattva endowed with such patient acceptance will swiftly become fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening. This patient acceptance of the child of good family who does not think about and does not conceptualize unsurpassed perfect awakening reaches the dharmas of a bodhisattva and the dharmas of a Buddha. I have explained that such patient acceptance, without aspiring at all to awakening for the sake of Buddhahood, swiftly leads the child of good family to unsurpassed perfect awakening. The one who will be firmly convinced that all dharmas are the dharmas of the Buddhas, and who does not become disheartened. That one, I have explained, is irreversible from progress toward unsurpassed perfect awakening. They should be said to be unseparated from all the dharmas of the Buddhas. The son or daughter of good family who, upon hearing this teaching, has no bewilderment or doubt, should be said to be unseparated from all the dharmas of the Buddhas. When this was said, the youthful Mañjuśhrī asked the Blessed One, "Has unsurpassed perfect awakening, Blessed Lord, emerged from a cause?" The Blessed One replied, "No, Mañjuśhrī, unsurpassed perfect awakening is not a cause, nor does it emerge from a cause. Why is that? Because non-arising and being without real existence are not causes, and do not emerge from a cause. Why is that? Because all dharmas are unarisen. Therefore, Mañjuśhrī, I have explained that a son or daughter of good family who, upon hearing this teaching, does not vacillate, is irreversible from progress toward unsurpassed perfect awakening. Therefore, Mañjuśhrī, those monks, nuns, laymen, or laywomen who from do not become disheartened, up to do not vacillate at this profound perfection of wisdom, are the ones who have taken refuge in me. They are the ones who have gone forth under me, and I am their teacher. Mañjuśhrī, a son or daughter of good family who does not train in this profound perfection of wisdom, does not train in the bodhisattva training. It is like this, Mañjuśhrī, whatever the type of plant, whatever the type of seed, whether grasses, shrubs, herbs, or trees, they all grow in reliance upon the earth. Likewise, Mañjuśhrī, whatever the wholesome dharmas of bodhisattva mahasattvas, they all grow, expand, and become vast when embraced by the perfection of wisdom, and they never fail to reach unsurpassed perfect awakening. When this was said, the youthful Mañjuśhrī asked the Blessed One, "Blessed Lord, will there be anyone here in Jambudvipa, whether in the villages, in the towns, in the communities, or in the countryside, who will take up and reveal this teaching on the perfection of wisdom, that is the Blessed One's explanation of the teaching on the perfection of wisdom?" When this was said, the Blessed One replied to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, "Mañjuśhrī, it is those who have right now heard this teaching on the perfection of wisdom and made the aspiration, 'May we hear this teaching on the perfection of wisdom when we have passed on from this life to the next.' It is they who will hear it and extensively cultivate it by way of non-cultivation. Mañjuśhrī, I do not say that it is a trifling wholesome root when they hear this profound perfection of wisdom and obtain immense joy and happiness upon hearing it. Mañjuśhrī, when there is someone who wants to hear this teaching on the perfection of wisdom, one should say to him, 'Child of good family, what will you do by hearing it?' Do not, upon hearing it, lose faith and vacillate. Why is that? Because there is no Dharma whatsoever whose perfection has been taught here, no arising or perishing of Dharmas of ordinary people that has been taught, no arising, perishing, or attainment of the Dharmas of those in training, or the Dharmas of those no longer in training, or the Dharmas of Pratyeka Buddhas, or even the Dharmas of the Buddhas that has been taught. When this was said, the youthful Mañjuśhrī said to the Blessed One, "Blessed Lord, if a monk, nun, layman, or laywoman were to ask me, what Dharma talk did the Tathagata give today, I would say in response to them, Blessed Lord, that it was a talk not at variance with any Dharmas." Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, there is no Dharma whatsoever that is at variance with non-arising. Yet that discourse is not easy for any being to understand. Why is that? Because there is no being whatsoever to be apprehended. Furthermore, Blessed Lord, I would say to them, it was a Dharma called non-arising that was taught. Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, all Dharmas are the same in being without arising. In that discourse, the Dharmas of an ordinary person are not destroyed by the Dharmas of an Arhat, and the realization that Arhats are superior has not been taught. Furthermore, Blessed Lord, I would say to them, in this Dharma teaching there is no being whatsoever who has attained parinirvana, who attains parinirvana, or who will attain parinirvana. Why is that? Because, Blessed Lord, there is absolutely no apprehension of any being. So asked, Blessed Lord, I would reply in this way. Moreover, Blessed Lord, if someone who wants to hear this profound perfection of wisdom from me were to ask, what talk did you engage in with the Blessed One today? I would say to them, if you want to hear it, then do not think, I will listen. Do not give rise to the thought, I will listen. Friend, you should give rise to wisdom that is just like the wisdom of an illusory person. In this way, this Dharma teaching can be understood. Friend, if you want to hear this Dharma teaching, then abide just like the track of a bird in the sky. In this way, this Dharma teaching can be heard. Friend, if you want to hear this Dharma teaching, then do not apprehend duality, and do not apprehend non-duality. Why is that? Because no dualistic description is proclaimed here, and no non-dualistic description is proclaimed here. If you want to hear this Dharma teaching, then do not destroy notions of a self. Do not go beyond views. Do not take as support the Dharmas of the Buddhas. Do not waver from the Dharmas of ordinary people. Blessed Lord, when someone who wants to hear asks me, I would speak to them in that way. I would instruct them in that way. I would establish them in it in that way. If a son or daughter of good family who asks were to remain and engage it in this way, then later, subsequent to having become established in this seal of eloquence, they will teach this perfection of wisdom, unarisen without real existence and unoriginated. When this was said, the Blessed One said to the youthful Mañjuśhrī, Excellent, Mañjuśhrī, excellent. This speech of yours is well spoken, and you should further say to that son or daughter of good family, one who wants to see the Tathagata should cultivate this very perfection of wisdom by way of non-cultivation. The son or daughter of good family who wants to reverently attend upon the Tathagata should train in this very perfection of wisdom by way of not apprehending anything. The son or daughter of good family who wants to say, the Tathagata is my teacher, should train in this perfection of wisdom by way of not apprehending anything. The son or daughter of good family who wants to become fully awakened to unsurpassed perfect awakening should train in this very perfection of wisdom by way of not conditioning anything. The son or daughter of good family who wants to achieve mastery of all samadhis should train in this very perfection of wisdom by way of not apprehending anything. The son or daughter of good family who wants to meditatively enter all samadhis should train in this very perfection of wisdom by way of not apprehending anything. Why is that? Because those samadhis are uncreated. The son or daughter of good family who wants to actualize the knowledge of an omniscient one in all its excellent aspects should train in this very perfection of wisdom by way of there being no real existence. Why is that? Because the knowledge of an omniscient one in all its excellent aspects is uncreated, unarisen, and without real existence. All dharmas are emancipated. There is no dharma whatsoever that is not emancipated. The son or daughter of good family who wants to understand this should train in this very perfection of wisdom by way of up to being without real existence. All dharmas are unemancipated. There is no dharma whatsoever that is emancipated. Why is that? Because all dharmas are unarisen. Those dharmas do not exist in the manner in which they are verbally expressed, and what is inexpressible does not exist and is not apprehended. The son or daughter of good family who wants to understand this should train in this very perfection of wisdom by way of up to being without real existence. All beings conduct themselves toward awakening. There is no being whatsoever that does not conduct itself toward awakening. The son or daughter of good family who wants to not be disheartened by this should train in this very perfection of wisdom by way of up to being without real existence. Why is that? Because all dharmas are the same as awakening. Just as all dharmas are the same as awakening, so are all beings. Just as all beings are, so is conduct. Because it does not exist, all conduct is without conduct. That is awakening. Awakening is without arising and without origination. The son or daughter of good family who wants to not be disheartened by dharmas such as these should train in this very perfection of wisdom by way of up to being without real existence and unarisen. Mañjuśhrī, whatever from the Tathagata has miraculously manifested, up to the Tathagata has playfully displayed, has been demonstrated on account of this very perfection of wisdom. Why is that? Being indemonstrable, the perfection of wisdom is not demonstrated. Mañjuśhrī, if I have explained that those monks, nuns, laymen or laywomen who retain even just a four-lined verse from this perfection of wisdom, master it, uphold it, and from read it aloud, up to expound it will be irreversible from progress toward awakening. What to say of those who practice for suchness? Those sons and daughters of good family should be known as destined for awakening. Those who, upon hearing this profound perfection of wisdom, unarisen, without real existence, and unoriginated, will not be frightened, will not be terrified, and will not fall into fear, abide in the Buddha's sphere. If they are firmly convinced as before, they will be destined for all the dharmas of the Buddhas. This, Mañjuśhrī, is the seal I will set, approved by the Buddhas, known by the Tathagatas, and received by all the Arhats. This seal is set on the realized ones in sameness. This expounds non-attachment with regard to all the dharmas of the Buddhas. Marked with this seal, Mañjuśhrī, the son or daughter of good family who is in the bodhisattva vehicle, is no longer capable of going to a lower rebirth, and no longer capable of going to or entering the level of a Shravaka, or the level of a Pratyeka Buddha. Then at that moment, Shakra, lord of the gods, as well as the gods of the heaven of 33, paid homage to this perfection of wisdom with divine sandalwood powder, divine gold powder, divine mandarava and mahamandarava flowers, divine fragrances, divine blue lotuses, white lilies and white lotuses, and divine music. And, as they sprinkled and scattered, the Blessed One and the youthful Mañjuśhrī said, "By this wholesome root, may those marked with this seal pay homage to this unsurpassed precious Dharma, and hear it again and again." Shakra, lord of the gods, declared, "Blessed Lord, I will strive for the sake of the spread of this profound perfection of wisdom, unoriginated, unborn, here in Jambudvipa, so that it will come to be heard by such sons and daughters of good family as these, and so that they will actualize all the dharmas of the Buddhas. Blessed Lord, those sons and daughters of good family who hear this teaching on the perfection of wisdom with little difficulty, and who, upon hearing it, become firmly convinced of it, retain it, master it, and so much as uphold it. Those sons and daughters of good family should know without any doubt. This has been established by a deity. When this was said, the Blessed One said to Shakra, Lord of the Gods, "So it is, Kaushika. Those sons and daughters of good family should be seen as having actualized all the dharmas of the Buddhas, and they should be known as destined for unsurpassed perfect awakening." Thereupon the youthful Mañjuśhrī said to the Blessed One, "Please bestow your sustained blessing, Blessed Lord. Please bestow your sustained blessing, well-gone one, on this teaching on the perfection of wisdom, for the sake of those sons and daughters of good family." As soon as this was said, at that very moment, by the Buddha's sublime power, the earth shook in 6 ways, and right after the earth had shaken, at that moment the Blessed One smiled. Then, immediately upon the Buddha's smile, at that moment, when this teaching on the perfection of wisdom became sustained by the blessing of the Tathagata, this billion-fold world system was pervaded by a great radiance. The youthful Mañjuśhrī then asked the Blessed One, "Are these the signs, Blessed Lord, that this teaching on the perfection of wisdom is sustained by the blessing of the Tathagata?" The Blessed One replied, "So it is, Mañjuśhrī. These are the signs that this teaching on the perfection of wisdom is sustained by his blessing. By these signs one should know that this teaching on the perfection of wisdom is sustained by his blessing. Mañjuśhrī, it is those who will not reject, will not reverse, and will not approve any dharma whatsoever who should be known as those marked with this seal. Why is that? Because, Mañjuśhrī, when there is the apprehension of something, there is rejection or approval. Therefore, Mañjuśhrī, it is for the sake of those marked with this seal that I have set this seal. Thus, upon hearing it, they will not teach or conceptualize any dharma whatsoever. Why is that? Because ultimately, Mañjuśhrī, all dharmas are unarisen." This is what the Blessed One said. Elated, the youthful Mañjuśhrī, the bodhisattva mahasattvas, the great Shravakas, and the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas rejoiced at what the Blessed One had said. This completes the noble Mahayana Sutra, the perfection of wisdom in 700 lines.